Now, as you have understood that what is a parameter in a function, now we'll see what is a default parameter in a function. So you can check out my previous video where I have explained what do you mean by a parameter in a function. So default parameter means, as we have understood earlier also, default means if your user is not giving any value, there will be a default value. So that is what the meaning of default variable in parameter in function. So how this default variable can be given, let's see. Let me take a function whose name is def and I'll use the function as greet here, and inside that I'll use a variable name and I will give a value here also. Name, I'll just write guest as a string and colon. Yeah, okay. Name, next I will print. So what I will print here, let's say I will print the same message hello, and with a comma I will print the name. Okay. Now what I have done here, let's see. So name is a variable I am giving inside the function definition and the parent while defining the function, and the value I am assigning here is guest. Okay. So here what I will do, I will print the function and that variable. Now this function definition is done. I will just execute it. There is some in okay, the comma has to be here. Yeah. So now I have defined the function and executed. That means the function is saved in the main program. Now I'll just call the function, let's say. Okay, I'll just call function. I'll not pass any variable here. Now if I call function, simply what it is printing, just say hello guest. So what is this guest here? So guest is the value that I have given while defining the function. Now let's see, I'll call the same function, but this time I'll give some value here. So now with a value I am calling the function, that means I am passing a parameter here. Now if I call the function, so spelling mistake, yeah. So I'll call the function. Now see what is being printed, hello students is printed. Now previously it has printed guest where I have not given any value, but if I give any value in the function parameter while calling it, then it will use that value. Okay, so for the first case, the name is equals to the default value. So guest is what? So in this case, guest is the default value, and when it will be used, so the in this case without any parameter inside function call, uses the default variable or default value we can write. So that's what happens here. If you do not give any kind of input in the function, then it will use the default value, but if you give a value, then user input value or anything you give, then it will take that value and use it. So even if I have assigned a fixed value here, name equals to guest, so it will override it if I am calling the function with a parameter. If I am not calling the function with a parameter, as in this case, so what will happen, it will take the default value. So this is a very simple example, as in your mobile, whenever you switch on it for the first time and play music, it will play the volume in some standard volume, it will play the music. Okay, but now you have a control that you can increase or decrease the volume. So without your input of increase or decrease, there is a default value in the mobile that at what volume it will play the music. Now if you press any button there, then you are giving any input, and in that case it will change the volume to that level whatever you want. So that is what a default parameter. That means if you don't give any value, the function will not throw an error, it will just use the default value there. Fine. So that is the meaning of default value. In the next video we will see some other types of parameters, what are formal and actual parameters.